body working, get your body fresh, get it going now. It's a podcast, it's a heavy metal Shane. Heavy metal experience. Get your body up, get it down. Get your body up, get it down, baby. Get your body down. Get your body up and get your body down. Heavy metal news, heavy metal podcast, talking about stuff, talking about good stories, talking about bad stories, talking about podcast. Heavy metal podcast. Come on, baby, let's get real fresh right now. It's pretty freaking good. Welcome, one and all, back to another exciting episode of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo. I am he. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not. This is a fully transparent situation here, and I am he, Shane. Welcome to the experience. I keep forgetting. I keep calling it a podcast. It's not really a podcast. It's a heavy metal news experience. Sometimes we have really good stories. Sometimes we have shit stories. Here's the stories we won't be talking about, and they're the real juicy ones, but they're not here. Kerry King, he says he wants to put out another solo record. He's got enough stuff to already do that. It's just escaping me. Ronnie Radke, he's at it again. I don't know who Brent Wood is, but he's being called out as a pedo. And he's calling Eddie Trunk and he's calling Sebastian Bach out for being friends with this guy. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but that's a story we won't be doing. What else was there? Seven Dust is doing something, whatever. I just rode home in the snow on a bicycle. And if you've never had ice cold water smacking your rectum all the way home and nearly wrecking several times, you should really try it. I am sitting there riding home and I'm going, I am 52 years old and in a slushy goddamn snowstorm on a fucking bicycle. It's what poor people have to do, don't you know that? Someone will say, Shane, you should have went to college. College wasn't, Mama Diablo didn't talk no college. I don't think that word was even mentioned until I started playing in bands and someone said, I got to cut practice short. I got to go to college or something like that, and I was like, what is that? Is that after school? I think that might be the first time I ever knew what college was. So it wasn't something that was talked about. So I couldn't get one of them bigger, smarter brain jobs. I have to do brute work. You've seen my physique. You watched my videos. You see that I'm pretty well put together. They were out of my lemon numbers. I love those. This isn't bad. But I like the lemon numbers. I want to welcome you to episode 168 of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, the heavy metal news experience, where we basically talk about news stories and other things. And then at the best part of it is at the very end, I read your comments. So what you do is you watch this podcast or you listen to this news experience, and then you get in the comments of the YouTube video, you don't put any kind of request like, hey, Shane, here's a really cool band. You should do these guys. No, you don't do that at all on the Jive Talkin. Do it everywhere, anywhere else you damn want to. But you get down there and you give me your feedback on the stories and things that we talked about in the episode, and then I read them in the following episode. It's a whole gaggle of fun. It's my favorite part. So we're going to hurry and blister through about 4 stories. I figured last time I did like 6. So we're going to do 4 today, and then it looks like you guys have written the goddamn Bible on there. Some of them comments are like, it's like Herman Melville's, Moby Dick, and then the Bible, and then whatever another long book is that's terrible. Stephen King, his books are pretty thick, and half of that stuff's not very good, right? Someone going to be mad at me for that? My biggest problem with Stephen King, if you don't mind me talking, outside of heavy metal for a minute, do you mind that? My biggest problem with Stephen King is he's never been good with the word I'm trying to spit out that I don't know the good words for. Lingo. He's never been good with dialogue. when the characters are speaking with each other, it always just sounds off. It sounds weird. Like in It, the whole beep, beep, Richie, beep, beep. That just drove me right up just right up the wall. Let's get back out of Stephen King news now. Out of cold, wet ass. I'm sitting here in my underpants. My shoes are sopping wet. I'm not going to show you my underpants, but a 52-year-old that can do that? A 52-year-old that can do that? Whoops. Is this one getting off to a really bad start? Oh, I fucked that screen up. Jesus. The things that I do to make this podcast so good. Yeah, I've really goofed that now. Now you might get to see my ass. What is it? Damn it. Back in business. Sorry about this whole thing. Let's get into the first story. Paul Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend, the star child. He's here. And he says that he over the 50-year career of the band Kiss, Knights in Satan's Service. Do you know them? I think when I heard that for the first time, Knights in Satan's Service, I couldn't wait to just get out and tell Mom, Dad, or anyone that would listen. It stands for Knights in Satan's Service. It's, yeah, whatever. Just come home with the lights on. He doesn't have a negative memory. In 50 years, this guy has never had a negative memory because he can't talk about having a negative memories. If you say you're in 50 years, you're in a rock band called Kiss and there was never a negative moment in there, you can't go ahead and turn around and say, but I had family negative moments. Family comes first, everybody. So, he's never had a negative moment in his life. During an appearance on the Sound Up podcast with Mark Goodman, I saw that name and I thought, is that the Mark Goodman, MTV? Mark Goodman and Alan Light. Kiss guitarist, vocalist Paul, the Stanman Stanley, was asked if a lot of the negativity, if a lot of negativity surrounding the band fades away when he reflects on Kiss. Am I goofing that? Kiss's 50-year run, dare we talk about, particularly as it relates to former members. He responded as transcribed by the fine blabbermouth.net. I don't see a lot of negativity. People talk about the glass half empty or half full. I see it overflowing. I mean, that's a really good... He should do more of that live when he's talking to an audience. He's very good in the interviews. I see it overflowing. I mean, I don't have any negative memories because everything that happened both happens for a reason and is part of the end results. I mean, that's a very good way to look at that. So, if you're living with your bitterness or to anger, it means you haven't gotten past it. And I have nothing but good things to say about everybody. He put them all in his book. He let them have it in the book, and he said, okay, all them bad negativities are gone now. I put them in the book. Close that book. Now the rest of my life is going to be good. And I have nothing but good things to say about everybody who's been in the band. Vinny, could you? And we couldn't have made it without all of them. But they didn't get to come to the final goodbye show, and everybody contributes something, and certainly Ace Frehley, original guitarist, Peter Criss, the Catman, original Kiss drummer, above everyone else, are the foundation of this. So, whatever spats there have been, or whatever bickering, like that time I called up Ace Frehley and I said, fuck off, because he was going to spill the beans on us on the Eddie Trunk Man podcast. I put it in perspective. If you win the lottery, you don't complain about taxes. You know what? I have actually heard people complain, when you're doing that. Poor people like to do this. when I'm working with these other fellas that I work with, and we're lumbering heavy shit around. I got a pain in my gut right here from it. Might be gas though, but they do. If I won $100 million, but the fucking taxes, you're only going to get, like 732 million, dude. It's like, shit, I'd take 3 of that. I'd take 1 of that. My God, guys. What have I done? My ass is still cold. Right in the center. Back in March 2023, radio host Howard Manston asked Stanley why he and fellow original Kiss member Gene Simmons didn't perform with Fraley and Chris at the band's 2014 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Have we been over this yet? The Stanley man says, well, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and organizers were demanding, quite honestly, that we play with the 2 original guys, Peter and Ace. And at this point, that would be demeaning. See, what about those negativities you were talking about, Paul? That's a pretty negative comment there. That would be demeaning to the most recent Kiss band. And also, who would give people confusion, like putting the makeup on the 2 other guys? Because if you saw people on stage and who looked like Kiss but sounded like that, maybe we should be called Piss. Oh yeah, we did talk about that. So that's a pretty negative statement. Basically what he's saying there is if he and Gene, the Simmons man, were going to perform at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Peter and Ace, they would have to call the band Piss because they'd suck. That's a negative comment, Paul. That's a rude thing to say. And believe you me, his book is chock full of rudeness. Okay? Chock full of rudeness. Kiss played its 2 final shows. Kiss played its 2 final shows ever in December 2023 at the New York City, the Big Apple. Although they say they call it NYC. And what was the other thing? But it's New York City, the Big Apple, Madison Square Gardens. That's it for that, guys. I feel like I'm done. We've got bigger breaking things to talk about. I think it's an official announcement here, the Rockett Man. And for my money, he is the Rockett Man. To hell with Elton John. Even though I love that song, this is the Rockett Man. And look at this guy's hairdo, man. He says, I think I've still got it. Even at my age, I think I can pull it off. A little bit of Stone Temple Pilots there, that really late stuff that flies in the Vaseline wheels. And this guy's straight out of a Norwegian black metal band. He's got a great situation going here. But indeed, it is officially announced that Poison's drummer, the Rockett Mafia, releases first single, announces live show. My friends, we're going to have to look at that song and see if it's any good. But we got to find out a lot of information here first. The Rockett Mafia, the new band, featuring Poison drummer Rikki, the Ricket Man Rockett, alongside Brandon Gibbs, Devil City Angels, on vocal and guitar, Mike Sweda. You might know him from the Bullet Boys on guitar and backing vocal, and Brian Kim's on the bass and backing vocal. Was released its first single, a cover of I Think I Love You. A 1970 song by Tony Romero. Is that song, I Think I Love You, but what am I so afraid of? Hey, I see Miss Althea will love this. I see the Partridge Family right there with my eyes. I'm looking at it. Is that what that song is? Why don't do that, Rockett Mafia. Put out a good rocker. Written as the debut single for fictional musical TV family, The Partridge Family. You can now listen to that track below. Guys, I don't know if we can. We'll try, but if they try and sting me on this video, which, by the way, do you mind me breaking off from this story for a minute and talking about that minute clip that I played of Sabotage? Remember the "Beat me up, the Spakenkirk has had enough and no one's up." That little clip that I played, they ding my video. Hey, we're going to share the revenue on it. You want to share 5 cents? Go ahead. I'll take 2.5 cents. The Rockett Mafia's current lineup will make its live debut Friday, February 21st at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Very good place to do that. The band has several other shows scheduled for this year, including at the Arcada Theater in St. Charles, Illinois. That's the Windy City, the big Chicago. On March 8th at Warner Vineyards in Paw Paw, Michigan on July 2nd, and at the Milwaukee Summerfest in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on July 2nd. There is a documentary, sorry to break off again, but there's a great documentary, and it's called American Movie, I want to say, and it's a must-watch documentary. It's these two rockin' dudes, and their brains are burned. And I think it's called American Movie. And they're so endearing, these two characters. They're so wonderful. But he's trying to make a horror movie. And he's trying to make this movie that he's been trying to make for 10 years. Go watch that documentary. You will absolutely love it. Why am I mentioning that? Because it's set in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My God. Let's see. I see Trunk down here. Let's get regarding how the Rockett Mafia came together. Rikki stated during a February 19th appearance on SiriusXM Trunk Nation with Eddie Junk in the Trunk, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net. What do you say? Who is this? Oh, this is the Rockett man. He's cool, dude. He's like, you know what? I always had Brandon Gibbs in the back of my mind. I'm a very smart guy, and it was right back there in the back of my mind of any project that I did. And that includes like even nailing things or whatever. If I'm building a fence or something, I'm calling Brandon Gibbs. That's who I'm calling. Which hasn't been what? I always Brandon Gibbs in the back of my mind, the project I do, which hasn't been many. I mean, I did Devil City Angels with him when I played the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride motorcycle charity event, which I am one of the city co-hosts, I'll have you know for. That's a worldwide ride that takes place in 300 some cities across the world, and I'm part of it. They didn't have entertainment, and I said, hey, it's time to have entertainment at this thing. And they said, well, I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? You couldn't play, could you, the Rick man? And I went, well, I don't have a band. So I'll have to put one together. I love the cut of this guy's jib. He's just like that too. I guess I'll have to put one together. Where in the hell are we? I had done a couple of shows with Chevy Metal. Me and Kenny Arnoff had done a couple of shows with them. So I reached out to those guys, and I had them come out and play the show. So after that, I just said, I need my own band. First person I met was Brian, who was working at a salon, doing amazing hairdos. I mean, just some of the finest stuff I've ever seen. It coiffed so amazingly. And the salon that was and we were started talking. Oh, Brian was working at the salon that Rikki, the Rick Man, goes to get his hair coiffed up. Started talking, and this guy is from Maryland. And we have the same circle of friends, but didn't know each other. That's when the group circles are like this, and Ricky's in there. He's in both groups of friends. But on the very deep outskirts was Brian, is what he's basically saying. He's played all the tri-state area back there, and the same places we played. New Jersey, Maryland, Pennsylvania, all that. And so we got along great. And I said, let's get together. I got to find a guitar player. And he mentioned Mick Sweda. And I was like, wait a minute. Are you talking about the dude from Bullet Boys? Is he busy? Is he doing something? I mean, that guy's a monster. He's telling this all to Brian. Is this something that would interest him? I mean, he is a monster. He's a friendly monster. And the first thing Mick said when I called him up is, look, if you're going to have me for one or two gigs, then get rid of me. I'm not interested, pal. I said, well, Mick, I don't know. I've never played with you, but I think we should at least get together and play. Wonderful. And we did. And we were playing Aerosmith songs, Van Halen, everything. And we're sitting there just going, oh yeah. Oh, fucking yeah, dude. We're cut of the same cloth. That's what I tell you. I brought Brandon into the thing. And I said the whole idea is something that Taylor Hawkins, late Foo Fighter drummer, told me that I should have been doing a long time ago. He's Ricky Rockett's friends with the Foo Fighters. Especially the best one, Taylor Hawkins, rest in peace. Because with that Dave Grohl, he's a cheater. He has a love child with another woman. Although, have you seen some of those photos of Dave Grohl's wife with her tennis coach? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't think that's how you do the backhand. I don't think that's it at all. Taylor Hawkins from the late Foo Fighters, that's what he told me, that I should have been doing this a long damn time ago. I always got super serious with a band. Like, I've got to right away write a record and do all the original material. And he's like, no, just go play for a while. Get used to everybody. Make sure you want to have a good time. Poison style, nothing but a good time, baby. Poison's your baby. Just like Foo Fighters are mine. That's Taylor Hawkins that's talking to him. So I took his advice. God rest his sweet soul. He just left his meat sack. That's all he did. He's shot off. He is part of Source. He's part of the consciousness. He's part of us all. All of us. You could kind of say that I am you and you are me, and we are all Taylor Hawkins and Rikki Rockett. That's how the conscious works. So he just left the meat sack. That's it. So don't worry about it. Don't fret. What's he saying? I do like his sentiments, though, about the sweet boy. What was it? So I took his damn advice. God rest his soul. Several years later, I'm actually doing this thing. It's been so much fun. Just in the rehearsal phase. I mean, we haven't even got out to rocking, and it's so good. I'm loving it, dude. It's everything that you need it to be. As for what fans can expect to hear from the Rockett Mafia's live shows, Rikki said, well, they're getting our original versions of cover songs for right now. Rikki, don't you do that. I don't want to hear the Rockett Mafia doing versions of My Sharona and stuff. I want to hear your fresh cuts. Your hot takes. Taylor, do you agree with me? He does. Thank you. Let's get off this. We're done with this. Isn't this, I feel like this is rolling along very smoothly. Graham Bonnet, I can't remember. Is he from England? He's going to get, I'll tell you what. I can't remember he's from England or not, but he's going to get an accent like this the whole damn bleeding bloody time. That's what he's going to get. But Graham Bonnet, the reason why I wanted to get into this story, guys, is because Bruce Dickinson is making all the rounds on songs and stages. We just did a video that probably only about 70 of you have watched, where Bruce Dickinson indeed got up on stage in Gay Paris with Pantera. And he didn't do a very good job. In fact, he said, respect walk off time. It was crazy. But another Bruce Dickinson alert, Graham Bonnet says, hey, you ain't gonna believe this bleeding bloody goodies. Bruce Dickinson might make guest appearance on me 4th Graham Bonnet album. And if you can get it, do it. I feel like he is. I feel like he's from England, right? Rainbow, yes, at Alcatraz. In a new interview with Ryan Vasey of the Beyond the Vibe podcast, that's a good name. Beyond the Vibe. That rolls off the tongue. Acceptable, Ryan, acceptable. Legendary rock singer Graham Bonnet, Rainbow, Alcatraz, Michael und Schenker Group, confirmed that he is working on a new album with his solo band. We've done thrice albums, what they say in the fancy towns. They say thrice. We've done thrice albums. We have 3 albums, thrice albums, as the Graham Bonnet Band. And they've all charted. Really? As transcribed, they've done great, actually. If you don't mind me tootling my own horn. The songs have turned out really well. And so we're on our 4th. What's the fancy word for 4th? We'll be doing a 4th album. Oh, there's a good space there for we could have had a nice big ad. Nice big car that I could think about. You know, while I'm riding a bicycle home and ice cold water is, you know, penetrating me kind of in a way. Elsewhere in the chat, Graham hinted at a possible guest singer. I bet you ain't bleeding bloody gonna believe this and the next Graham Bonnet album LP saying, I've seen Iron Maiden singer Bruce Dickinson recently. Bruce actually might be singing on this new album with me. Bruce Dickinson. Because I went to see him. I found where he lived, and I went to see him. A few times, a couple of times I did. Guys, the Graham Bonnet Band's 3rd studio album, Day Out in Nowhere, came out in May 2022 via Frontier Music, SRL. Okay, yes, I could see it there. This is going to be solid, hard rockin' good times. Graham was joined on the LP by longtime bandmates Beth Amy Heavenstone. Oh, that's the name. That's the name right there. That's a woman that does that with her hand. Hello. Beth Amy Heavenstone. Pleasure to meet you. No, it's all my pleasure. Thank you. That's for when they hold the hand out and you kiss it. You hold it just like that. You squeeze the fingers real tight. It's nice to meet you, ma'am. I'm losing it. Graham was joined on the LP by longtime Beth Amy Heavenstone, bass, and Conrado Pesinato, what a great name, guitar, as well as keyboardist Alessandro Bertoni. And drummer Shane, oh, that's a lot of A's in there. Galas. Day Out in Nowhere. Also saw performances and co-writing guest appearances from Jeff Loomis. Oh, that's that guy from trying to do Nevermore. We talked about him a couple episodes ago. Without No World Dane. John Tempesta, the Colton White Zombie, Mike Tempesta, Powerman 5000, and Roy Z. Halford and Bruce Dickinson. There's his Bruce Connect. And Don Erie of Deep Purple and Rainbow. Speaking of Rainbow, what did you think of that video that I put out? Yesterday. About Stargazer. Remember we were talking about Stargazer? Bonnet is a hard-rocking legend with a pedigree to back the statement up, I tell you true. His solo offerings and stints with Rainbow, MSG, Alcatraz, and Impellitteri prove he is one of the finest rock vocalists and songwriters of this generation, or any other generation, I'll say true. From his late 60s into his 70s, Graham has written and recorded some of the best albums he's ever done, including a reunion album with the Graham Bonnet's Alcatraz called Born Innocent in 2020. Yeah, we did a track from that or something. Along with 3 records from his Graham Bonnet Band. 2016's The Book, 2018's Meanwhile, Back in the Garage, and the aforementioned Day Out Nowhere. He has a kind of a weird way about his like song titles and stuff too, doesn't he? Now I'm thinking about it. We didn't hear any of that Rikki Rockett song. Do we need a taste of that? I don't think we do. I really don't think we do. I think this is whizzing along perfectly. In 1979, Bonnet auditioned for the frontman position of Rainbow. Why, with his James Dean image. Right? The choice of Bonnet to replace Ronnie James Dio. Whew. After watching that Stargazer. That's a rough one, Graham. I'm going to tell you, that's a rough replacement. Bonnet to replace Ronnie James Dio was subject to some questions, however. Once the band heard Bonnet sing, they knew they had their man. With Bonnet at the mic, they recorded the Down to Earth LP, which became one of Rainbow's most successful releases. Well, shit in my hat. See, I'm sitting here talking about how, Ronnie's a hard one to replace, and he goes, oh, really? Then why don't you explain to me why I'm on one of the most successful Rainbow Bleeding Bloody records ever then, Shane? Why don't you just say it? I wonder if he's got an accent.
This look, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all I needed. Now watch, they'll ding me for that. Since you've been gone. Oh. That's a good tune, isn't it? We love you, Graham. And I'm glad that I'm glad that I got your accent perfectly and right on. What do we think about an earring in a 70-year-old? You know, I took mine out. I had 2 of them, and I just started to feel weird. I don't feel weird about tattoos. I don't feel weird about, my Prince Albert that I have pierced. No one sees that. And then, of course, the other piercings that I have down there. I have several down there. Those are fine but just up here, I got self-conscious of that. Let's get into Ginger really quick. The bass player, who's, he's freaking 5, 6, 7 strings on the damn bass now. And it is very futuristic. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like it when we ain't got a headstock on there. But he's going, Shane, get your geriatric rock. That's what Brownie Radke was calling Sebastian Bach and Eddie Trunk, geriatric rock. But this guy has a very good point that I wanted to hear about, and it's that musicians are at the very bottom of the pyramid when it comes to making money on tour. And I wanted to see if there was comparisons there between, say, circuses, ice shows, and stuff like that. This guy, he's, how good am I going to be at his? And guys, I'm starting to feel like I have to go to the bathroom. But I'm 30 years out before I get as good as this guy is right now on the bass, okay? But I'll tell you right now, I did just learn Yes. And Miss Althea she's not a fan of Yes, but the song Leave It. I learned that whole thing, and it sounds great when I play it. But as soon as I was to pick it up and to show you, I would fuck the whole thing up. But when I'm sitting there, leave it. Let's get into this real quick. Then your comments, yes. And if, by God, you know what? If I have to piss on the floor, I'll do it. Okay? I won't do that. Ginger Basis says musicians are at the very bottom of the pyramid when it comes to making money on tour. And this, I tell you true. I know these guys are from Ukraine. I'm going to refrain from a Ukrainian accent. I don't know exactly how that works. You know, I'd love to give it the old college try, but I don't want to look ridiculous. In a new interview with Germany's Mosh Pit Passion, Mosh Pit Passion, bassist Eugene Abdukhanov of Ukrainian, and I apologize for butchering that name because I know that it probably rolls off the tongue and sounds like a beautiful poem word. But I just can't do it. Of Ukrainian modern metalers, Ginger spoke about how touring has become increasingly challenging and increasingly expensive to navigate, particularly in light of the fact that many venues require bands to pay them a percentage of their merchandise sales. That is shit. You're getting paid by all the drinking that goes on. Or whatever. You're damn well getting paid in the parking. I'll tell you, in half those places, they're getting paid in the parking. He responded to this. He says, it's hard to find the proper words and not to swear. I, of course, I deeply hate the whole idea of basically stealing money from bands, especially when venues have bars and make tons of money on booze. Yeah. And especially cutting merch money for support bands who very often barely make any money on merch itself. Yes, that happened to us. And I'll tell you the show. But I'm going to go to the bathroom first. I'm going to run downstairs, use the restroom, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you the story about the big bands that ganked us on merch. Hold on. Free your mind and the rest will follow. You've never seen that 52-year-old person stick their leg up that high. Now, as I was down there relieving myself of all that pressure, and thank you, by the way, for holding out and just being good about all that. But now I start going, I can't remember if it was Typo Negative or it was Gwar. But I remember it was the same show, whoever toured with Celtic Frost. I want to say it was Gwar, Celtic Frost, or Typo. I don't think it was Typo. Anyways, because they ganked half of our merch. We were the opening small-time band, and we had to basically, we couldn't sell our merch for less, right? We were just a small band, so we were selling our shirts for 15, whatever, and they said, you can't. You have to sell your stuff at the exact same prices as Celtic Frost. And that's what I said. That's why I remember them in particular. Is that, well, if we're going to raise our price to them, why wouldn't I'll just go buy a Celtic Frost hoodie for that. Anyways, it's hard to find the proper words and not swear. I swear a lot. And of course, oppose, I don't like none of this stuff. And especially cutting merch money for those support bands who often barely, did I read all this? Often barely make enough money in merch itself, and they don't have anything else. And I'm watching this lady folding stuff or something. Well, and at the same time, I understand that there is no way out of the situation because of the whole system, how everything is made, everything is turned upside down. It's all corruption, dude, from the ground up. Every single bit of it is corruption. How can I get more money in my pockets? Take out of your pockets and put in my pockets. He continued with his great thick points. Musicians, from being at the very top of the pyramid, like artistes, actually everything's supposed to work for musicians. It's almost like I'm reading a different language. Music, from being at the top of the pyramid, like artists, actually everything's supposed to work for musicians. They turn to be at the very bottom of the pyramid because the musicians are working for everybody else. This is how it is done. It turns out that the musicians are working for management. The musicians are working for labels. Yes, the musicians are working for booking companies and promoters, and it is very, very obvious when you see a financial settlement of a tour, because you start from there and you see the money and then you see all the cuts and what you're left with in the incomparable with that what was at the beginning. I'm sorry about this, guys. I am sorry. I feel like I just got possessed there for a minute. Eugene added, I can complain about this forever, but I see to the core, and the core is just the world we live in. This is how everything works and everything is turning. So once open market and free capitalistic societies turn into a deeply monopolized market, yes, Keith, yes, tell me more, yes, where everything belongs to certain entities which control the majority of the market, I will not say names. This is definitely bad, but I just don't see a solution. Oh, we got a solution. It's coming. If you're down the rabbit hole like I am, it's coming, baby. There's solutions on the rise. And please don't do a wellness check on me, or you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just fine. It's just been one of those days. You got to let your willies out. Don't you ever do that? Haven't you ever tried laughing yoga? Have you ever just sat there and just fake laughed as hard as you can laugh? Like the thing that comes to mind is if you've ever seen Money Pit, when the house is just finally collapsing and he's just laughing like, and he's laughing at the house and it feels great to get the sillies out, get the willies out, just laugh it out, just scream it out. You just feel so much better. Try it sometime. I don't even know what the hell that has to do with anything. Ginger released its 5th studio album, Duel, on February 7th via Napalm Records. LPC's Ginger continuing its long-lasting collaboration with accomplished producer Max Morton, who co-produced, mixed, mastered this album. Fine empty ad space there, but that means nothing to us. There's another thing that I was going to tell you about, story we're not talking about today, but it's Sleep Token. If anyone's into that, they're the masked band that's kind of like if Ghost is soda pop, Sleep Token is wine, and they put up some cryptic stuff on their website, and there's something you have to decode and a choice you have to pick. Are you going to be the crossed swords or are you going to be the feather? And so there's something going on there. I like them pretty all right. They're okay, but you got to be in kind of a mood, kind of a sensual mood. Honestly, I'd say that's probably, I think a lot, people might say it's a passionate lovemaking kind of a music. You know, because it's got so many layers to it, you can start with all the romance and the chocolates and the roses and the wine and the fireplace and the thing, and then just get, at some points in there, you're just down to, shredding the bed sheets apart and, and just going to town. But I think we've cut through these stories good enough. I agree with everything that this fine gentleman has said here, Eugene. He's really nailed it, like he's nailing that bass. There's shit coming out of that bass that you say, that's magic, that's wizardry. He's a demon, but it's just talent and his fingers and his hard work. Let's get into your comments. That's right. It's the best part of the podcast. I have emptied my bladder. Perfectly comfortable now. And we have your comments here. And I love to read the feedback. So if you'd like to take part in that, please join us. Is that John? Oh, John Kolokithas, yes, of Greek descent. We did a request for John a few weeks ago. I told him I knew a Nero Meliotas, Greek. John. Good episode, Shane. It's a shame that Danzig isn't into fully touring anymore. I've always wanted to see him live, and he hasn't come near my area in a while. Last time was 3 or 4 years ago, I believe, and I wasn't able to go unfortunately. I was just having a thought. Sorry, John. I was just having myself a thought about a memory that I had that I'll tell you about. I'm going to go back a line because we don't dirty the name of John. Last time was 3 or 4 years ago, I believe, and I wasn't able to go, unfortunately. It's great to know that Marty respects Metallica and that the whole feud between the bands was only hyped up due to the media, the media though. And he's got a good point there. There's no point in those bands fighting. Okay? They're over it. They're done with it. They got no problems with it. They love each other finally, wonderfully. The story I was going to tell you about Danzig. Now, I was in a young heavy metal band, and you can go find us on the Metallum, what's it called? Encyclopedia Metallum. It's called Fatal Cause. And the album is on Spotify. It's called Mind Christ, and you'll have to hear it. But it's on Spotify. You can go listen to it. Now, here's what I'll say. My mother, Mama Diablo, wonderful woman. This is going to be a long episode. She worked at an insurance company. She was sexually harassed by the big manager. And she filed a lawsuit, and it turned out that 3 of the gals that worked in the office were, they said, yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So she ended up getting some coin. And what she did was, if you go on Spotify and listen to Fatal Cause Mind Christ, she helped us record and put out 700, for whatever reason, 700 cassettes of this album, Mind Christ. Now we get to the Danzig story. I am a madman with these cassette tapes. I'm trying to sell them. You know, she wanted her money back. She's like, oh, I want my 700 back. You know, or whatever it was, $1,200 for 700 cassettes. So anyways. But at some point, it's like the money, we got, you know, there you go, there's the money back and everything else. And we started to kind of just hand them out. Go to parties or whatever and hand them out. I'd hand them out to anybody. Well, I took them to the Danzig show. It's probably the third album, I think. Or it was either Lucifuge or the third record. Anyways, I slung a freaking cassette tape, that cassette tape of Mind Christ, up on the stage, and it smacked Glenn Danzig in the shoe. This is to my, no fibs, no lies here. It smacks him in the shoe. And his stilts, whatever. He looks down, he picks the tape up, looks at it for a minute, and he's shirtless. You know, the kick-ass Danzig. Just beefed up, and he had the big belt buckle on. This is the good part. Looks at the cassette, fucking sticks it in his back. Sticks it in the back of his belt, and I went, oh my God. Oh my God. And that was the same show where I told you that he jumped off stage and grabbed a guy and took his ass. I was standing right there, and the guy next to me was flipping him off, and he jumped down, grabbed the guy by his ass crack, and took him right out the back door and threw him out. Anyways, my God. If you can handle it, you can go listen to that Mind Christ record, okay? We got better. You can listen to the second one. That's a little bit better too. There's 2 of them up there on the social web. Mike Buchanan coming in here. The 69 man says, first off, happy belated birthday to you, our grand leader Shane. Hey, I'm not a leader. We are all equal here, pal. There is no leader. You are me. I am you. We are all. We're all clones. Okay, so last week, Shane derailed my movies that are bad, but we love them anyways. If you watched last week's episode of 166, you'll know that I literally stopped one of his videos. I know, bad Mike, I'll never do that again. Learn my lesson. And watched The Last Action Hero, one of my favorites, and lost what I was going to review. Well, sorry to say once again, that movie is being bumped once again for this week's bad movie, Freaked, 1993. How did I come to bump a movie for the second week, question mark? Well, I was watching a video from another YouTuber. Sorry, Shane. I shall, from now on, watch nothing but your videos. You can watch other things. I'm just saying, make sure that you've watched all of my videos. All 5,000 of them. And you can put things in there too. You don't have to watch all of them and then start watching other videos. It's fine. You know who I've been watching? I really enjoy those interviews that Billy Corgan's been doing. The Magnificent Bastard or whatever he calls his podcast. The Genes. I watched both of them. I'm got to watch the Sharon Osbourne one now. But the Tom Morello and Gene Simmons, pretty good. He's very good with questions. Anyways, that's a YouTube channel that I watch. So I'm just trying to tell you it's okay. Let's see. Sorry, Shane, I shall now watch nothing but your videos. And this guy goes to garage sales, flea markets, toy shows, and buys and sells old vintage toys and collectibles. In the video, he came across a set of weird figure mutants. One was half woman, half man. And I was like, I know those figures, but for the life of me, couldn't figure it out. he did at the end of this, at the end of his video. So see, you're a great guy. You watch him to the end. You don't just cut out 5 minutes in. You watch him to the end. I appreciate that. When it came to the end of his video, let us know that the figures were from a movie called Freaked, and bam. That brought back memories. So here we are reviewing a totally different movie once again. One good way to judge a film is considering if they had enough ideas to fill up a feature-length film. Yes. Alex Winter's Freaked goes above and beyond that measuring system. Every scene, every frame of this film has something clever or laugh out loud funny in it. To name a few of the film, I gotta watch this. To name a few of this film's throwaway gags, Mr. T in a dress, sideshow freaks playing Hollywood squares with the skeleton of Paul Lynde in the center square. He used to do the head nod. Oh, really? Sometimes I get my Paul Lynde and my... who was that other guy? I know Miss Alti. I know we've talked about it before. You know, that other guy. Kind of plump fella glasses. I'm sorry. Mr. T in a dress, sideshow freaks playing Hollywood squares, the skeleton of Paul Lynde in the center square. Air stewardesses helping terrorists and two-headed chickens. A farting clown, classier than it sounds. Keanu Reeves as a dog boy. So yes, a sort of Bill and Ted reunion of sorts. Brooke Shields saying The Return to the Blue Lagoon is a terrible movie with a movie and Calvert DeForest. Hold on. I see Larry Bud Millman there. I love it. David Letterman. Return to the Blue Lagoon was that movie with Brooke Shields. She was very young at the time, and I would have been her age, so get your mind out of the damn gutter. But that is one of them movies that I remember seeing at Grandma's, and I was just in love with her. Like, oh my God. See, when I went over to Grandma's house, they had Cinemax. And so, and the great thing about Cinemax was it's all kinky stuff all day, all night. That's why they call it Skinemax. And so that's where I really, it's crazy to say that at your grandparents' house is where you started seeing all the filthy stuff. But, like Barbarella, one of them oily flicks like Emmanuel, something like that. I want to say it was something like that. But Blue Lagoon, Return to Blue Lagoon, Brooke Shields in it. I was absolutely in love with her, but we were about the same age. So I think maybe she's a little older than me, quite frankly. I was cougaring back then. Calvert DeForest, Larry Bud Millman, yes, from those in the back and their hands up. For those in the back with their hands up, and that's just the throwaway gags. The main jokes are the main jokes and characters are even funnier. Even a simple "I like Ike" sign is used cleverly. Really. The director, who also created the best MTV show ever, Idiot Box. Oh, I think those are on Tubi. I'm pretty sure Idiot Box is on Tubi. Are a wealth of ideas, and it's a shame this didn't get a major theatrical release. The bad taste humor is actually kept a minimum. Bad taste humor is actually kept to a minimum, at least by my standards. And I'd recommend this to comedy lovers and special effects makeup lovers everywhere. Grab your favorite beverage, sit in your favorite chair, pop you some popcorn, press play on that bitch. Sorry. The thing that I like about these, I think they give me gas. I got these pains. you know. And you can always hear me going, always gurgling. But I think it's because it's sparkling water. I drink a lot of these things. Maybe that's just becoming an addiction since I've stopped drinking alcohol. Now it's like, no, I gotta have fucking these. I gotta have sparkling waters everywhere. All right, let's get into this here. Damn it. This is still Mike Buchanan, believe it or not. I told you, he wrote Moby Dick, and we got the Bible and a Stephen King novel coming up. But don't get me wrong, I love it. So that's... Yes, Shane, I have checked out, but I'm still here. Shane, I think she wants ate my friend. Guess you are now waiting for her bus to come. She, what? No, he's talking about the bus lady, right? That's called Thirsty. She was saying something. Shane, I think she wants... I don't know if you're doing something there to kind of say a kinky word or something that I'm supposed to be getting. I think she wants a date. Maybe it's the D missing. Date, my friend. Guess you are now waiting for her bus to come and are going to be late to everything you do for life. I feel like I'm reading really poorly. And I'm very upset with myself about that. Yeah, you know, I thought I saw a ring on it. I think I saw a ring on the finger, but if that's the case, then why in the hell is she making passes at me? She's a married woman. But then again, maybe it's just a stylish thing to have, you know, because she's very stylish. She's got a puffy coat, you know, and it has the little frizz around it and stuff, and sunglasses and stuff. Sounds like, this is still Mike Buchanan, sounds like Nevermore is going to need a bass player, Shane. Time to step up. It will be interesting to see who they find to be the singer. Rest in peace, Warrell Dane. I mean, they might have a very good band there. I'm just saying, every single Nevermore fan is going to say that is not Nevermore. It hints of Nevermore because there's members of it, but it's not. Mike Buchanan says, okay, and now tech support by Mikey B. Your fan on your laptop could be speeding up due to a few things. Number one would be to get yourself some canned air and blow out. He knows I'm a dusty bastard. He knows I'm a dusty person. Get some canned air and blow out the fan to see if there's a lot of dust causing poor airflow. Number two, if you open task your manager while your laptop fan is going, open task. If you open task manager while a laptop fan is going wild, check to see if maybe your CPU usage is high. See if there are any programs running that could be causing high CPU usage. Number three, if your laptop is sitting on a table, make sure that there's nothing under it. What do you mean by that? The table is under it. You mean I need something to lift the laptop up off the table? Like some kind of lift? Sitting on a table, make sure that there's nothing under it. Like a placemat, which also can cause poor airflow. Laptops run hot as a matter of there being poor airflow. All else fails, throw it in a river. Okay, that's okay, Glenn. Okay, now he's on to this now. Thank you for those tips. I think I'm going to figure out how to raise this up. Would I just put a couple envelopes under there or something just so it's not... Because there is a fan thing across the bottom of the laptop. There's one at the top and there's one right under that. Okay, Mike Buchanan, that's okay, Glenn. Danzig, no one wants to hear new music from you anyways. I kid, of course. I myself would be over the moon happy if he recorded new music. Mike Buchanan says, don't hold your breath for movies that are bad, but we love them anyways for the Scorpions movie. Biopic, yeah. While I love the band, I'm not all that interested in a biopic movie. He says, don't put your fingers up your nose because your nose knows that's not the place it goes. You can sniffle. You can sneeze. Is this one of them things that I should have been, my parents never told me? You can sniffle, you can sneeze, but I'm asking you, please don't put your fingers up your nose. Now go get yourself a Diet Coke if you know where that comes from. I don't, but I feel like I should. Mike Buchanan says, dude, when you get to Johnny B's comments, you will find your new podcast name in there. We had a lot of fun adding on to what he came up with. Okay. Where'd Shane go? I mean, I wasn't really paying attention, and then he just disappeared. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay. I know this has been long, but I must reply to Miss Althea. It's the law. She is correct. I do love Spread Eagle the band. Oh, I'm run on sentencing this stuff. Because now I've got my fingers in my nose. Okay, I know that this has been long, but I must reply to Miss Althea. It's the law. She is correct. I do love Spread Eagle the band. This is the band that formed from the band Bang, who, as well as all known, so as we all would know, won the MTV Basement Tapes. They won? I thought Rail won. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember Rail? Were they runners-ups? I thought they won. It's Bang that won? It was a tape competition show on MTV, yes. And now it's time for the Jive Talkin Jokes of the Week. A tough old cowboy from Texas counseled his granddaughter that if she wanted to live a long life, the secret was to sprinkle a pinch of gunpowder on her oatmeal every morning. The granddaughter did this religiously until the age of 103 when she died. She left behind 14 children, 35 grandchildren, 56 great-grandchildren, and a 40-foot hole where the crematorium used to be. Oh. He killed everyone in town. By telling his granddaughter that, and then she lived to 103, and then she blew the whole town to hell. Walking around in underwear eating Cheerios doesn't make me weird. You folks in aisle 4 just need to stop staring. I totally agree with you. I'm in my underpants right now. Bang, bang, ka-ch. Not a very hairy guy, never have been. Not a hairy fella at all. I had my left side removed. It's okay. I'm all right now. Why wouldn't the shrimp share his treasure? Because he was a little shellfish. That's a pretty good one. And finally, why cows don't talk. God, you're a cow. The cow says, okay, God, your baby is a calf. Cow says, ask me why I'm tired after giving birth. God says, well, what? Cow says, ask me why I'm tired after giving birth. God says, why are you tired after giving birth? And the cow says, I'm decaffeinated. God, just like me, there, pausing. Cow, someone's lactose intolerant. That would be me on that one. There you go. Am I making sure? I've got to get the heart since I've been bad with that. Did you see how Johnny B scolded me that time? Remember a few episodes ago? Very angry with me. Frightening. Big Tony comes in, he says, hey, happy birthday, brother. I'm starting recovery week 2 on Monday. Sutures come out on the 25th. Man, thanks for the well wishes. Did you just hear that snow shovel just drive past? Anyone thinking that I didn't have a frozen ass on the way back and I was lying about snow? Did you just hear that truck come down the road? It's a snow truck. Rockstars was a movie. Yes, Rockstars. Hey, listen here. Why don't you shut the fuck up for a second and let me talk? Rockstars was the movie based on JP. That's the loosely. It was based on JP loosely. Now his name's escaping me. The early Scorps were hard and heavy, and their live shows were incredible. As for Little Glenn, well, we got a couple of things to say about Little Glenn. As for Little Glenn over there, who needs more at this point? Who needs more at this point? Whatever new show title you decide on, it will always be JT to me, bro. No, it's staying Jive Talking with Shane Diablo, but you know, I've thought about it a couple times, tinkering with names. He says, hey, thanks for the consistently great content. That gets you a thumb too, my friend. I mean, blatant comments will always do that. Thank you. Miss Althea coming in, and I'm moving around in my chair because, yes, my back's a little sore from heavy lifting all day long for very little pay. But let's face it. It is what it is. Miss Althea coming in here, the dumbstruck fool, says she's here for the long hang. Thank you. Okay, so I won't say happy birthday. Love you, bro. Thank you. Yes, here we go. Frankenstein Creations and the All Right Largo show. This is my neck of the woods and what could have been my very first Kiss concert ever, but my parents would not allow it because you said you went to Dynasty. That's the first time you saw them, yeah? It was when I was 11 years old. And rest the soul of the venue, the long since defunct Capitol Center. Capitol Center. This guy's work is amazing. How I would love if he could upscale and make pristine, or almost pristine, a 1988 ex-Japan live show from Kyoto Support Valley that is considered a holy grail. Not sure if Yoshiki would allow it, though. Didn't I tell you that looked crisp? You could see the sweat dripping down. And we're talking 70. We're talking Kiss in their prime. And he did just a great job with that concert. Yes, he did. Miss Althea says, I still get Nevermore mixed up with Nothing More. And neither figure into my agenda. So, whatever on that one. That's the second snow truck. That's how bad it is. My ass is already sore for tomorrow. Miss Althea says, Danzig Schmanzig. In the grand scheme, does it really matter if he doesn't make any new music? Especially after he openly stated, I don't really like going on tour. Why would he want to make new music if he doesn't want to go get out there and on the road and to support it? That shit only works for people like Taylor Swift, who are so over the top mega huge that they could release 5 albums at once. Really? 5 albums at once. Not lift so much as their pinky for support, and it would still sell billions. I mean, I know she's popular, but Miss Althea on Scorpions. Scorpions make a movie. I was never a huge Scorps fan, but I do enjoy a nice rock and roll biopic. So I would be interested in checking that out when it is complete. I have a feeling the casting is going to be a hot mess in the sense that none of the dudes in the band were ever attractive, in my opinion. So if they do end up employing some pretty boys, then I am going to question all of the content. And no, Brad Pitt is not my type, and I don't find him attractive either. Well, you're a gemstone in a sea of other gems. I mean, different colored gem from the rest of the gems, because most women say, oh, give me some of that Brad Pitt. I mean, even now, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, they like them. They think they're great. I've always wondered about that, if women just... I mean, I guess you do. Women are going to have the same erotic... I was going to say, I wonder if women have, erotic dreams and stuff about Brad Pitt, but of course they are going to have them. Everybody has erotic dreams about Brad Pitt. And no, Brad Pitt is not my type either. Ripper, the Rip Man Owens. Rockstar is the movie that was escaping you. Yes, it was not a biopic proper, but loosely based on the tale of how Ripper ended up in Judas Priest. Was the band Judas Priest, though, or was it just like a whole fake band? Like they took Judas Priest completely out of it. And they said, this happened to the Judas Priest and this guy, but that's all that matters, counts. Marty Friedman, Miss Althea on Marty Friedman. Of course, there is still a lot to learn from Metallica. What with James being a geometry teacher and or algebra teacher and all, I actually think Marty should foray into teaching. He's fluent in Japanese. If he could pull together some kind of heavy metal language learning program, that would be totally immerse me. That wouldn't be too bad because you love the Japanese music, so if he did like a course like that, I mean, it'd be a pleasure to sit and watch Marty Friedman teach you Japanese. Kind of like how Jack Black taught math in the School of Rock. And your podcast is not the only thing limited to themes. This song was the second time this story was the second time Marty has come up for me within 24 hours. For Valentine's Day, Dan got me a nice stash of Gazette stuff. One of the items was the program from the Loud Park 14 Festival in Japan, which was held October 18th through the 19th, 2014. The Gazette played on day 2 of that festival, along with other bands like Death Angel, Creator, Dream Theater. Just so happens Marty played on day 1. Other bands on the bill that day were Loudness, Dragon Force, and Arch Enemy. That's pretty cool. What about that man of yours? A birthday gift, or a Valentine's gift. Not just that lame old chocolate stuff, chocolate, heart from the gas station. Get you something that you truly want. You're like, I love this. Miss Althea on the Metallica watches. Yes, those fine timepieces as they like to, they're made with little hands, little instruments, and little place inside that watch where you get that done. So they are fine timepieces. Miss Althea says, wait about a year, then scope them out for resale at a much more reasonable price on Mercari. I don't know what that is. If it weren't for Japan's... she's going to tell us. If it weren't for Japan's arm of Mercari, I basically would not be able to afford any official Gazette swag. Oh, is that like a online store? Their shit is expensive. That's fantastic. Mercari. It's fine. It's like the fine name for a fine shop. Welcome to the Mercari. Oh, yes, well. Johnny B coming in. Thank you, Miss Althea. Johnny the John Man, B Man, coming in here. B09er. Daddy, what's happening to me, Daddy? What's happening to me, Daddy? Happy belated birthday, Shane Areno. I've listened to everyone. I've listened to every one of your podcasts from start to finish. I've had to pause it at times, but I always pick back up right where I left off until the little green the little green check mark pops up and it reads finished. Thank you. The bathroom breaks, belches, and occasional fart are all part of it. I don't think I farted. I mean, maybe I have in one or two, just accidentally. Don't forget the scratching and itching. They're all part of it, and I wouldn't want your show to be any other way. It's real. It's funny. It's interesting. It's informative. And it's unedited. Sometimes you say that you think people give up on it early because you go off the rails. And if they do, then it sucks to be them, because off the rails is what keeps me coming back. Don't you change a damn thing. What you're doing is perfect. If I give you 2 thumbs today, you'd be getting them. You'd be getting them good. Johnny B here still, I completely understand what you're saying about us humans still being cavemen. And that's a true statement. It is, and it's not that I have just been feeling that way. I look around at everything, my surroundings, and it looks old to me. It looks like this, like even the most cutting edge stuff that you see, I go, this looks old. What are we doing with freaking poles in the ground with wires draped across everything? Is that all there is? Is that the only world that we're going to have? Is fucking a planet where there's poles with wires draped across it all the time? Just seems very old to me, and it's like we're still just, take it. That's mine, And it's like it's everyone's. It's everyone's in the world. Jesus. Okay. The cavemans. And that's a true statement. We are tiny specks compared to what's out there and what's coming. A new consciousness, a new way of thinking are definitely needed, and it's coming. It always has to. You gotta break the levee. You have to get to that bending point. Before everyone goes, what are we doing? Have you ever? I'll tell you. Here's a perfect example of this. One of the guys that I still talk to this day, that I've known since I was 17 years old, we beat the shit out of each other over a girl when I was like 19 years old. That's what I'm talking about, is if you've ever actually got into a fight with someone and then you stand up and you kind of go, fucking, beef squashed, everything squashed, you know what I mean? It's like, it's old. Fight, kill, war, stab, punch, steal is old. It's boring. It's been done. It's ineffective. Does that make any sense? I'm going to shut up now and get through this, damn it. Do yourself a damn favor. I put the damn in there. I've read it, buddy. Search for Pale Blue Dot. That is a wonderful book by Carl Sagan. And read about that. It'll take maybe 5 minutes, not the book, but it'll take maybe 5 minutes of your time, and you will be amazed. My mind couldn't wrap around what I was reading, but once it sunk in, I was humbled. Maybe this is different, but Carl Sagan did put out a great book called Pale Blue Dot. Because, of course, that was the image taken from the Curiosity rover as it spun out to snap a photo before it was sent off into the glorious Vector 7, or wherever it goes. I was humbled. Okay, here we go. Johnny B on the Polynesian Hawaiian beautiful bus driving gal was hinting that she wanted to go have a drink with you. Thirsty Thursday, is that what that was? She tried touching your hand while telling you what she was trying to say. So you're saying she's a drunk. She was definitely hitting on you. Next time, go ask her to have a drink with you. Can't do that. Can't do it. Since I've stopped drinking, I refuse to put myself in those scenarios, even though they're lots of fun. At least right now, that's where I'm at. I'm like, I ain't going to no clubs, no bars, no nothing. I got a buddy. He's in a great band. They're called Muckraker. You got to come check us, bro. You got to go. It's like, dude, I can't, I apologize, but right now I'm at that point where I go, you know what? I can have one or two. And so I just keep going, don't I? I just keep going off here. She was definitely hitting on you. Next time, go ask her to have a drink. Maybe we'll see. I'll bet you'll win. My guts. But it does sound like maybe the neighbor who made you dinner for your birthday might have your interests. Spill the tea. Shane, tell us about the neighbor and the bus driver. The neighbor next door is the grandmother for my son. She's about 78. I think she just had her birthday. Went to a terrible restaurant. Terrible. And it was one of them fancy ones where you have the cloth napkin, you put it in your waist. I go, where does this go? It doesn't go up here in the shirt line. I'm feeling very confident about that. Just put it down in your lap, dear. Just put it down in your lap. But she made me dinner for my birthday. And you want to know what it was? I'll tell you what it was. And you're going to say, of course it is. It was, when I went downstairs, it was beef stroganoff, hamburger helper beef stroganoff. But she added some extra cheese and stuff and goodies in there. Yes, so we'll see what happens. I haven't run into her again. It's usually when I get off early that happens, and they like to jam it to you. You know, when you're part of the lift, tug, and pull, squeeze, and, union, they like you to work long and hard. How awesome you took my advice and found the Hotter Than Hell remix. Oh, that's the guy. Yes. Really wish Paul and Gene, would make that official. Yeah. It does sound really good. And the All Right Largo. You know what I was thinking about? That turd. You know that guy that gives me all the blocked videos and stuff, that Kurt Gooch? It's like, or Kiss. It's so beautiful looking and sounds so good. I'm surprised Paul hasn't said, let's get a hold of this guy and buy it. Do something sweet for the guy and not just go, you ain't going to show that on your YouTube channel anymore. Right, Gene? Oh, yeah. We don't always have to be jerks about things. We can be nice about things. Live show and capture the era of them so good. That's two. That's me. That's Miss Althea, and that's Johnny B saying it was damn good. Go check it out. Kiss, All Right Largo. I love the name Speak and Destroy for a podcast, and love your idea of renaming Jive Talkin to Jive and Destroy. I couldn't remember what I said it was going to be. Jive Talkin to Jive and Destroy. Here are a few others I came up with. And they got in there, didn't they? Didn't you say something, Mike? You were saying something about you guys Jive 'em all. Jive the Lightning. Oh, that's good. Master of the Jive Talkin. And Jive Talkin for All. That is good. You're just doing all the Metallica albums. Rejive, Saint Jive Talker, Jive Magnetic, Hardwired to Jive Talk. that's a $100 idea. Jive Talk Inc. Oh, another interview that I wanted to share with you guys, and you will love it. I love this guy, Hops. His name's Hops. And he's got a YouTube channel called Hops Metal Show. And if you go over there, say, I'm coming and saying hi for Shane. He does an interview with the brother, the musician of Jackal, Wooten. The guy's name's Jesse Wooten or something like that. But you got to watch this interview because from the glitchy Skype cameras to just the guy that he interviews is absolutely fantastic talker and interviewer. You know, he's talking about getting Jesse in the band Jackal and all this, and he's just a really likable guy. But the best part about it is watching Hops, because he's wearing his Jackal shirt, and this is like a fucking moment from heaven for him. And he is just on every word this guy's saying. And it is a highly enjoyable interview. So go watch that. It's on Hops Metal Channel. And you'll know who it is. The Jackal guy, Wooten. And then there's this guy that just randomly pops in out of nowhere and goes, I just wanted to interject and say, I am indeed from that small town in North Carolina. And then gets back to the podcast. But go watch that if you've got... it's so DIY, but Hops is so loving it, and they are having such a good time, and that guy is so entertaining that it's a great interview. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. Another great episode, Shane. Always remember to keep your tip up. You got to rework that one. That's keep your tip up. Keep looking at the sky. Remember what you had going on there? You had something about keep on. P.S. If Danzig wants to knock on people's asses, I hope he's asking first. And that's true. And you wouldn't believe it, but I damn near have to go to the bathroom again. So we're almost through this. Oh, we got a new fella here. Well, we know Josh, right? Josh H. No subscribe. Well, let's see. He's got 6 hearts received and 27 comments. Josh, we welcome you, my friend. We welcome you for eternity, really. I understand you want to relax when you do your podcast. He understands me. He gets me. Oh, and Beata, we're ending with Beata this time, and I've received a heart, an emoticon, another heart, and another emoticon. So well done, well done. There you go. We have done it again. It amazes me. What's happening with this thing? I feel like it's moonwalking. Is that a thing you can do? I didn't know you could do that. All right, let's get out of here. Bless you. You guys are the best. You guys are simply the best. And I'm nothing without you. I'll say that right now. I'm nothing now. I was nothing before you. I'm nothing. But I'm somebody with you. We're all one. We are all we are. Let's get out. Let's go. Let's get. We're going to hit a song, okay, guys? Don't, please. I just love this. This has got night driving. Come on, baby. What you doing, baby? Come over here. In traffic, it's such a good time with an open can of beer. Well, that's yours and mine, and we listen to Shane on the radio. What's up? Jive Talkin with Shane. Get your motherfucking heavy metal news for free. Yes, indeed. Come on, baby, hit